We've cured it, everyone. It didn't freeze. Again, is it just lulling us into a false sense of security? Excuse me while I just sort out this lighting and get the glare off me bald noggin as much as I can. Anyway, yes, you can see the battle scar from the razor last week. If you were missing last week, then you'll have missed the story where basically I had a sneezing fit in the shower, and I thought that the sneezing fit was over, but it saved the last one, the best one till last. And just as I was putting the razor into contact with me noggin, a sneeze erupted, and that battle scar there is the result. Anyway, who cares? It's Friday. It's time for a beer. Cheers, everyone. Oh, that's rather pleasant. The more observant amongst you will have noticed that is not the same colour as my usual Friday night petrol. That's because I will be moving on to that later, but what I'm on at the moment is this stuff here. It's called Till Death and After Forever Entwined Ale, which comes from the Big Dig Brew House, which I'm not sure where, down south somewhere. BigDigBrewhouse.co.uk if you're interested. Basically, I think it's a pub that has a little microbrewery attached to it, and one of the chaps on the live stream and a regular student of mine lives pretty close to them, and they brewed this Till Death and After Forever Entwined Ale for a wedding that was taking place there, and he snagged me a couple of bottles and sent them up. You'll see them getting unboxed on in a video in the next few weeks, because the postman arrived with them right in the middle of me making a video. So there you go. That's the joys of working from home, I suppose. So hope you're all okay. Let's do the customary thing, the roll call. See how many who was in first and who's in, in the room, shall we speak. We've got Rent to Kill first in, then Rubbish Guitar Blog, Peter Nicholson, Terry Day, Boulder64, and Dave Fiendish. And then we got Theme Tunes, Dr. Gomez, One Silent Hybrid, Grandpa Joe, who is saying, greetings, John and Fatacasters. Hope everyone has a happy and safe weekend. It's a bright and brisk day in New York. Excellent news that James from AgriJag will be making an appearance on the channel. Yes, indeed, he will. I'll probably talk about that a little bit more as we go through this evening's proceedings. Then there's Malcolm Spillett, Peter Collins, Johnny Random, and Anton. We've got David James, Timbo, Tom Clark, Malcolm Thompson, Stephen Hedger, Paul Trainer BSc, and Amadeus. Hot on the coattails of that lot, we've got Mark Kerno, Joe McMurray, Paul Trainer BSc. Did I just say you? Deja vu, I can't remember. Ben Allmark, Johnny D, Frank Bolam, Vincent Brennan. There's Rexomatic saying greetings from Phoenix, still waiting for temperatures to cool down, spending time with acoustic guitars and learn to use TC Helicon Voice Live 3 Extreme. That sounds like a bit of a mouthful, not even sure what it is. Kind of like taking a computer class, nice harmonies. Well, yeah, if you're enjoying it, mate, that's what counts. Yeah, if you want temperatures to cool down, get yourself over to Redcar. It's been, as we say in this neck of the woods, it's been brass monkeys here today. Then we've got Relaxing Meditation, 60s Man, Maria Muggs Davies, Far John is in, and so is Robert Bald. Robert Bald and Balder64 are the same person, I believe. Then we've got Calby and the Rocco Cat, Austin Barrett, the Essex Cat, and Graham Reeves, Russell Gibson, Ian Clark, and David Evans. Following on that, we've got Steve Entwistle, Barry Riches, Pete S., and Mickey Walnuts. And there's Colin Falcon, who lives local to me, who will attest to the fact that it has been brass monkeys in Redcar today. The wife's been up on the market, selling the jewellery that she makes, and this is the first market this year where she's had to dig out the old heated jacket. It's basically like like, do you remember, like, your granny used to have an electric blanket? It's a jacket made of that sort of stuff, and it's powered by a little rechargeable battery in the pocket. And she's been okay till now, but she needed it today. Then we've got Blue Sofa Songs and Searching for Tone. There you go. Go and check out Searching for Tone's channel. And give him a like and a subscribe, and just help the lad make his way on that there YouTube. Then there's Rent to Kill again. Weren't you first in, mate? And Mickey Walnut is saying, I don't drink, but in the spirit of things, I'm munching on a Marks and Spencer's apricot croissant. Yeah, I'm not keen on croissants, to be honest with you. It's I don't know. It just tastes like greasy pastry to me. Maybe I've never had a good one. Anyway, then we've got Chris Otterwell, David Cairns, Peter Goddard, 1960, no less, John Channing, Peter Williamson, and Mr. Chris, 5254. Then, have I said you already? If I haven't, I'll say it now. Mark Kerno, Neil Roberts is in, so is Stevie Mack, Brad Dowell, and then the chat just jumped there, so I need to scroll back a bit. Let's have a look. Jeff Benner and The Lamb is amongst us. If you don't know about The Lamb's live stream, then go and check it out on a Monday evening. It's probably the best thing you can do on a Monday evening. Well, I like to try and catch a little bit of it, but I'm often working at the time that it's on. Lamb, mate, you are a mod, so feel free to stick your link in the chat. Then we've got Johnny, Bill Mumbo, and is that Azog? I'm not sure how that's pronounced. If it's Azog or Azog or Azog, I don't know, but you're welcome, mate. Anyway, there's Dudley Squat, Mark Fay, and Cal Texper. We've got Sargi in as well, and Ian Checkley, and who else we've got? Just let's scroll down a bit. We've got Jamie Neese, Ravensmead, and my mate Steve Cassidy Guitar, who I thought you were on your way to China, mate. I thought you were off on your jollies. Or are you kind of dialing in from an airport lounge somewhere? Don't forget, Steve has a video coming straight after this, 6 p.m. UK time. So just enough time when you leave here to go and recharge your glass and go and sit down in front of Steve's wonderful offering. Peter Hall is in, and then we've got Ian Mason and Cushman NYC, Boulder 64, the artist formerly known as Robert Bald, and who else have we got? Let's have a look. We got the Dale 22, and anyone else? We've got Jay Aoyong, no less, regular in this parish, and I have a super chat there from Mr. Paul Trainer. Thank you so much, mate. That is genuinely appreciated, and I shall put it to good use. That will go in the beer fund. Mississippi Blues is in, and who else we got? I think that pretty much covers everyone. Apologies. Oh, Pooh Ninja is among us, and Peter Hall saying, I thought you were going to say the wife is up on the roof fixing a few loose tiles. No, that is that's not a Jackie job in this house. It's that would not happen. In fact, just the thought of it makes me a little bit nervous. Anyway. I see we've got Jeff Tucker, a.k.a. Flynn Hawkins, saying happy beer o'clock. Well, it is indeed beer o'clock, and let's just see the end of this one, shall we? And that leaves me with an empty glass, which simply will not do. What have I done with my bottle opener? Here it is. So, what is this? It's... I think 4.5%. So it's kind of roughly in the right sort of territory. You've got to be careful pouring this because it is like a proper old traditional ale. The sort of stuff that comes with twigs in it. You just basically don't want any of the sediment off the bottom of the bottle because it doesn't do you any harm. It just has. Shall we say, some rather brown consequences the next day, or it can do. Anyway, Excuse me, just clearing the old throat there. And let's get rid of the bottle top before it becomes a dog toy. Right, what's coming up on the channel this week then? The usual sort of format, really. There's a jam on Sunday, and what I'm talking about on Sunday are forever guitars. Guitars that you just know you're never going to part with. And because you know you're never going to part with them, you either put a ridiculous amount of money into mods and upgrades for a relatively inexpensive guitar that you know you will never ever get that money back when you sell that guitar. Case in point, a certain budget Telecaster that I've got that's had stainless steel frets fitted. That's money I'm never going to see back, but I don't care because it's never a guitar I'm going to get rid of. So it's either that kind of guitar or it's a guitar that, it might be a bit more of an upmarket guitar. It might be something that is, something that you want to kind of keep the case and all of the kind of stuff that it came with, and all of the little kind of hang tags and everything, because you want to keep it in pristine condition. But then you just think, do you know what? This guitar would be a lot better if I did this to it. And by doing that, you're actually devaluing it, perhaps. Perhaps you're actually, kind of reducing the saleability of it. But once again, it doesn't matter because it's a guitar that, you would rather sell a kidney than sell that guitar. So, yes, we're talking about those kind of guitars on Sunday, the forever guitars. And there will be a couple of really rather obvious guitars that you probably can guess already that I'm talking about that will make an appearance in that video. Then Monday, continuing with the lead guitar basics lesson. Monday's video is just a little bit of housekeeping, really, where I'm talking about all of the basic lead guitar techniques and how to do them, how to do hammer-ons, how to do pull-offs, how to do slides and string bends and all that sort of stuff, and how they look written down in tab and all that kind of just the mechanics of playing lead guitar, the sort of thing that is often so simple that it gets overlooked, but it's only simple if you know it. And if you don't know it, it can be like a real stumbling block that can blunt your progress. So that's what Monday's video is all about. Then on Tuesday, you remember a few weeks ago, I did a video where I was talking about 5 excellent albums for people who are new to blues as a genre. Typically the kind of guy or girl who grew up in the 80s listening to 80s metal and became a bit of a shredder, and then they hit middle age and they realise that their spandex doesn't fit anymore, and much like me, they can't really kind of carry off the poodle perm hairstyle anymore. And they need to mellow things out a little bit, so they want to get into a bit of blues. I did that video a few weeks ago. Well, it's a similar one again, but this time 5 recommendations, 5 albums I would recommend to anybody who is new to the genre of Whisper It jazz. Okay, so I know there's jazz in the title of that video, so it will get a paltry amount of views. That old line of a rock musician plays 3 chords to 1,000 people and a jazz musician plays 1,000 chords to 3 people. That is so true, and that's a reflection of how I expect this video will perform. But I don't care. I make videos about what I want to make videos about, and then I don't really worry about if they perform well or not. I just take the view that just keep chucking darts, one of them will land in the bullseye. So that's Tuesday's video. Then on Wednesday, we're continuing with the topic that we've been kind of talking about Wednesday. I think this will be the 3rd one now, where we're talking about songwriting, and an often overlooked concept in the idea of songwriting, tonality. What is that, you might ask? Well, if you watch on Wednesday, you'll find out. And then Thursday is like always the wild card slot where I just kind of put videos that I just want to talk about something or show you something that doesn't really fit into either a solo analysis or a top five or anything like that. What we're talking about on Thursday is how do you listen to music? I don't mean which format, streaming versus MP3s versus CDs versus vinyl. Don't care about all that sort of stuff. That's just like the format that it arrives in. What I'm talking about on Thursday is how do you listen to music? Do you sit down and listen and concentrate and, play an album start to finish and take it all in whilst paying attention to it? Or do you just have music on in the background? Do you do a little bit of both? I see Steve Cassidy saying ears. Yeah, that would be one way of doing it, mate, I suppose. Although you get those headphones now that you don't have to put in your ears, like sort of induction headphones, where it just kind of goes in via the bones on your skull. I've never tried any of those, but people who have say that they are absolutely fantastic. Anybody got any experience of those? Those kind of induction headphones? And yeah, that's what's coming up on the channel this week. I thought there was another one to read out there, but there isn't because we've got as far as Thursday. So let's have a look, see what's been going on in the chat. Here, says Steve Cassidy. Peter Hall is talking presumably about a forever guitar. Yes, my Faisley Maverick is fantastic, and I keep thinking of new tuners and wiring. It doesn't need it, but yes, it's just one of those things. It's the urge to upgrade. Mark Fay is saying, if you upgrade a cheaper guitar, you won't lose value, unlike a bloke I know who chavelled out the pickup cavities in his Gibson Les Paul Custom to put John Birch pickups in. Yeah, we first got a national lottery in the UK in the mid-90s, and it sort of sparked that conversation that, because it was a novelty to us. The nearest we'd had to any kind of mass gambling on that sort of level was the football pools, when the Little Woods man or the Vernon's man used to come round every Thursday night and collect your coupons. Basically, it was a form of spread betting on, which football matches were going to end up in score draws. And but we got the national lottery in 1994, I think it was, and everybody's saying, what would you do if you won the lottery? And there was a great character on the circuit round here. He's still around, I think, Graham Russell, absolutely fantastic guitar player. He's everybody's hero in this part of the world. He used to turn up and do solo gigs with backing tracks, and he'd have here he is with his little PA system, and backing tracks probably on mini disc in those days, and he'd have like a PV 5150 stack that he would be playing with against these backing tracks. But yeah, he's a character, is Graham, and. His thing was that if I win the lottery, I'm going to buy myself a Paul Reed Smith Dragon. Do you remember those really ornate inlaid Paul Reed Smith guitars? He says, I'm going to brush paint it orange hammerite, and I'm going to hack Floyd Rose into it with a chisel. And he would have done that as well. I can attest to the fact that he would have done that. Just saw your item about the man hunting you down for plagiarism. What a joke. Don't know how these people sleep at night. Yeah, well, they do. As I said in that post, I can challenge the decision. I can dispute it, but the people who are adjudicating on that dispute, the way it works is that the record company get in touch with YouTube, and then YouTube take the action to basically take the money off me. So I can. Excuse me. There's my phone. What was that all about? Oh, your device has great new features. Take a look. No, I won't. Go away. You're going on silent. Right. I can challenge or dispute the decision, but the people who are adjudicating on it are the same people who ruled against me in the first place. And if my dispute is deemed to be fraudulent, then I lose my channel. So it is sort of as my granny always used to say. I think we're far enough into the stream that I can say this now. It is the shitty end of the stick. But as I said. Every time I've copied an album to cassette in the 80s, every time I've recorded the top 40 off the radio in the 70s, every time in the 90s when I used to buy hooky CDs off that, everybody used to, wherever you worked, there was always one bloke who used to sell pirated CDs, wasn't there? What I'm saying is, over the course of a few decades, I reckon I've ripped off the record labels more than they're ripping me off now. There are some things that I do where I think, usually on the solo analysis videos, when I'm thinking, this is going to get claimed. I just know this is going to get a copyright claim, and it absolutely sails through. Even amongst some of the artists who are known for being kind of quite sort of hot on that. I don't think I've ever had a Queen video claimed. I don't think I'll tell you who always claims my videos when I do something by him is Mark Knopfler. Jay Aoyong is saying, Squirebox, new guitar day, John. Oh, you missed this. This was was it last week or a week before? Yeah. Squire Classic Vibe Strat. I decided I needed, not wanted, because basically I bought that guitar with me head, not me heart. I've had to borrow a Strat off my mate Colin, who's in the chat there, Colin Falcon, a couple of times already. And every time I borrow a Strat off him, I'll give him a case of beer. So I thought, well, at some point, with what it's costing me to buy Colin a case of beer every time I borrow his Strat, I could probably just buy a Strat and then I've got one. So I bought that one there. It's just it's a benchmark guitar for doing comparison videos with and that kind of thing. Yeah, Tom Clark sing Don Henley. Yes, boo, hiss, Don Henley. It's he is another one that it's if you even and Buddy Fleetwood Mac as well. If I do any chord sequence that is even remotely like Need Your Love So Bad, it basically gets claimed by Fleetwood Mac's publishers. And the irony of it is, Need Your Love So Bad is just a standard gospel blues chord sequence that's in the public domain, and Mick Fleetwood or Fleetwood Mac don't, to the best of my knowledge, they don't own the copyright to that song anyway, because when they did it, it was a cover of a song by Little Willie John. But you just kind of take it on the, I just, kind of work on the basis that when I got my 18th birthday cards and, and kind of I became a consenting adult, it was never promised to me that life would be fair. And if you go through life on that basis, if you go just kind of think about, well, that kind of thing happens. Life's like that. It ain't fair. And you just kind of, as one of my all-time heroes, Ronnie Barker's character in Porridge, Fletcher, he would say, you can't beat the system, but you can lift heart with the occasional little victory. And if you go through life with that attitude, I promise you will be much happier. Colin might be bad at losing his beer supply, says Gordo Canuck. Well, Colin's welcome to come around for a beer anytime he wants. He only lives around the corner. I tell you what it is, this stuff is really rather gluggable. It's a shame I've only got 2 bottles of it, and I'm back on the Heineken after that. Nearly didn't have any Heineken this week. Tuesday morning, the Morrison's driver was supposed to turn up with a grocery order, and you get that email about an hour before the groceries turn up, and they'd substituted Heineken with Carling Black Label. I mean, come on. That's like saying, "Oh, I'm sorry your Ferrari isn't working. Here's a Mini that will kind of substitute it with." So that, needless to say, that went back. And then I went to Morrison's, the local branch, and shelves full of the Heineken that they'd said they hadn't got. So work that one out. Balder64 is saying, for a horrid moment, I thought you were talking about Colin Haystacks. Okay, lost on me, I'm afraid, but never mind. I'm sure it's funny if it would be funny if I understood it. Vincent Brennan is saying, just watch G.E. Smith talk on guitar collection in Handmade on YouTube. Found it interesting. Yeah, I first kind of became aware of G.E. Smith back in the 80s. He was, there was a show on TV in the 80s, which many of you will remember, called The Tube. And it was like a music magazine kind of show. Paula Yates and Jules Holland were the main hosts. And it was sort of the antithesis of Top of the Pops. There was no miming or lip syncing on this. It was all live performances. And they would show snippets of gigs that from artists that were touring in the UK at the time, and they showed part of a Hall & Oates show at Wembley, and the guitar player on that was just amazing, just a brilliant player, and just really kind of owned the stage. And I thought, this guy's a superstar. Turns out it was G.E. Smith. So then I kind of I wasn't like stalking him or anything, but I did sort of always, kind of Google him occasionally once we got the internet, because the intervening years. But, whenever there was a guitar magazine came out in the 90s where, I could see that he was featuring it in some sort of way, I'd always buy that, and hopefully there'd be a tab of one of his solos or something. So, yeah, fantastic guitar player. What else we got? Fleetwood Mac built their early car. Okay. Did you hit send there before you'd finished? It'll crop up later, I'm sure. Balder64 saying Colin Guitarista. Okay, I've lost the thread of what I was talking about there, mate. Sorry, but yes, Colin's a good lad, isn't he? The Lamb is saying the supermarkets limit their black site deliveries out locations to specific product lines or maximise profitability of online sales. I didn't know that. I just thought that you kind of put an order in and they delivered what you ordered. Has anybody? I mean, that's one of the less weird substitutions, isn't it? Carling Black Label in place of Heineken. Has anybody got any other like weird substitutions that they've had? You can. We'll get back to that topic right after, because we're halfway through the stream almost. Right after we've had a look at this week's. I'm just going to start calling it what you lads call it, the Readers' Wives section. So let's take a look at what pictures have been randomly selected from the stash of guitar pictures that you good chaps have sent in over the past few weeks. As I say, these are all just randomly chosen from, and basically what I do is I delete them out the folder. Anyway, this one, I'm waffling, I can tell. This one is a guitar that, well, very similar to a guitar that you used to see on this channel a lot of the time, a Gordon Smith GS2. This is just the GS2. The GS2, for those people who are not familiar with Gordon Smith guitars, the GS2 60 would be the one with the single cutaway. I think. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. But anyway, this looks very much like my original Gordon Smith that I had back in the 90s. And apart from mine, didn't have the trem on it because, I'm just not a trem sort of guy, really. But that just looks like an absolute workhorse of a guitar. Austin Barrett, who sent this in, did tell me that, like, the story of this guitar. This is one of the old Gordon Smiths that was made in the original factory in Manchester when Gordon Smith wasn't a person, by the way. It was a Mr. Gordon and a Mr. Smith. And at some point, Mr. Gordon departed the company. It just ended up being Mr. Smith, who continued the brand until he retired and then sold it to, was it Auden Musical Instruments? The people who make Black Star amps, anyway, that's who makes them now. But this is one of the original ones, and it just looks such a well-played, friendly little workhorse, doesn't it? That's a beautiful looking guitar. That's my kind of guitar. Minus the trem, that is my kind of guitar. And then from Chris Snowden is Harley Benton 12-string acoustic. Chris, as you can probably tell, and probably knew already from the number of pictures he sent in, is a southpaw. And, this is one of his many, many acoustics. I'm always amazed by, I play guitar for a living, and many of you lads who just, have the luxury of treating playing the guitar as your pastime, as your hobby. It's, you often have more bloody guitars than I do. Anyway, another one of Chris Snowden's acoustics, a Taylor GSE Travel Electro. You just know, looking at that's going to sound gorgeous, don't you? Then Derek Stopperton. This is his Squire Strat, which, as you can probably tell, has had many, many mods. Squire Affinity Metallic Blue with new dark blue pearl pickguard and trem cover. It's bordering on Liberace, that, isn't it? I mean, it's if you're into that sort of thing, but it certainly looks the part, doesn't it? It doesn't look like Affinity, Squire Affinity brand. That is pretty much your entry level brand these days, and I played a few recently, and every time I pick one up, I'm thinking, do you know what? Compared to the guitar I started on, I'll move on. I'm going to start sounding like the Monty Python 4 Yorkshiremen, aren't I? When I were a lad. Next, we have Glenn Bailey's pedal board. Let's zoom in and have a look. We've got yes, what have we got? We've got a Ditto looper. We've got the Line 6 M5, a puzzling pedal, it has to be said, because it's a multi-effects that you can only use one effect at a time. But I think that the whole ethos behind it is that it can basically, it's a chameleon of a pedal. It can be a drive pedal, it can be a flanger, it can be a chorus, it can be a delay, etc., etc. Then an EQ pedal, and always a useful pedal to have. The hidden gem, really, of I've got an EQ pedal. Just a Behringer one here, and that's what I dig out whenever I want the Santana tone. How do you get the Santana tone on an EQ pedal? Just set it for like an inverted V, and you'll instantly get that cocked wah sound. NUX Queen of Tone, kind of drive pedal, compressor, and what we got down here. A lovely Plexi Crunch pedal. I'm not sure what's this one here. I can't read that one, but this is obviously the MXR Phase 90, which, we can tell whose guitar tone that is emulating, can't we? And then Ian Cochrane's absolutely gorgeous Les Paul Standard 60s in dirt. I think he said this in Dirty Lemon Burst, mate. That, I often say when I'm looking at these guitar pictures here, in this section of the show, that sometimes you just conjure up a mental image of a guitar, and then and some guitars just fit that sort of I want to say stereotype, but there's certain negative connotations to that word. But you know what I mean? There's certain guitars that you just look at and you think, yeah, that is the epitome of that guitar, and that is the epitome of just a really classy looking Les Paul. I am so jealous, mate. That is a beautiful looking guitar. Then Theme Tunes. This is his Agile 12 string, which a bit of a mismatch, really. You've got that sort of Ricky kind of look to it with that sound hole there, but you've got like, what look like kind of Firebird pickups on it, and no fret markers. I hope you've got the side dots there, mate, or else you're going to get severely lost. Another one of the guitars from the Richard Crediton Hughes collection. Richard is a mate of a regular on this on the live stream who never usually comments because he watches on his big TV, and if you've ever watched YouTube on TV, you don't have a comment section or a chat that you can jump into. Dave Phillips is a regular viewer, and Richard is his mate. One of Richard's many homemade T-type guitars. In this case, one with a black painted hardware. It was literally thrown together with little expectation of it being any good, and by sheer accident, it turned out to be an excellent player. On the headstock, it is branded Sadcaster. I don't know why. Very much, it's sort of like Wilco Johnson's guitar in negative, isn't it, really? Wilco was kind of black with a red pickguard, and this is the other way around. Another one from the same collection, much modified Gibson SG Standard, all genuine parts, including a genuine Bigsby vibrato, roller saddle bridge, and genuine Seymour Duncan pickups. It looks like a heavy metal or Black Sabbath fan's axe, but it isn't Richard's. That isn't Richard at all. The inspiration came mainly from looking at the parts left over in his parts bin. It's always nice when you've got a kind of stash of parts and you can kind of throw a guitar together like that, isn't it? Then Scotty, what a lovely bunch of guitars. We've got this lovely Strat with a Sunburst Strat with a brass. Is it brass or mirror scratch plate there? Very, very similar to one of the guitars that Mark Knopfler plays on the Alchemy Live videos that I continue. Basically, that whole Alchemy gig is up on YouTube, and I can recreate my experience of having the whole Alchemy gig on VHS back in the day. Then this lovely Tokai here, Gibson Les Paul Standard, and a Tokai Les Paul custom kind of thing, and then the unrelicked version of the vintage Lemon Drop guitar. I had one of those in for review. Not this particular variant. I had the relict version in for review earlier on in the year. Lovely guitar. And then what we got here, this looks very much like a Squier. I would say, is that a Squier Classic Vibe Telly? It certainly could be, couldn't it? But lovely looking bunch of guitars there. You got to say that's just absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Pornography, even. Then here's a close-up of that Tokai that we saw in the last shot. Scotty in his email did say that this has been a faithful workhorse for him, and it is a guitar that he absolutely loves. And there's no more to look at there. That's the end of this week's Reader's Wives section. So there you go. Right, chaps, you're about to see me get just about as close as you'll ever see me to drinking a cocktail, because I've still got the dregs of that rather fine Big Dig brewery or brew house in the glass, and into that I'm going to pour my Heineken, the Heineken that I had to go out and buy, the Heineken that I had to go out on a rather nasty, windy, rainy day to the supermarket, and oh, there we go. That's a proper flake head, that, isn't it? There we go. It'll probably take me a sip or two to re-educate me palate. Michael Purcell is saying, is that an aftermarket trim? Doubt it came with it. If you're referring to the to the Gordon Smith, you can spec a Gordon Smith up pretty much however you want it, mate. They are. I'm gassing for another Gordon Smith at the moment, actually. It's the last Gordon Smith I had. I sold it onto a regular around these parts when he used to be around, Bottleneck Bob Bridge. He bought my old Gordon Smith off me, and I sold it because I just got a signature guitar. Yes, well, least said about that, the better. You can pretty much spec up Gordon Smith with anything you want. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that trem could have come on. Actually, thinking back to the email that I got from the chap who sent that guitar picture in, I think that the trem is aftermarket. What are you saying there, Lam? As for Alchemy, may I also recommend Dire Straits' Rock Poppin' Concert, 19th of December 1980, also available on YouTube. Tremendous stuff. Well, it gives me something to watch later, doesn't it? The missus will probably watch Coronation Farm or EastEnders Street or whatever it is she's watching that comes on at 8 o'clock. I usually plug my headphones in and watch Mr. Cassidy on YouTube. That's when I catch up with his videos. After that, she's normally, because she's been out on the market, she'll be yawning and nogging off and head off upstairs. And then the big flat screen TV is mine for the evening. Oh, you can't waste an opportunity like that, can you? So I'll be probably putting, I'll stick that on. Let's have a look. Jay How Young is saying Rickenbacker vibes on that 12-string there from Theme Tunes. It is, but it's not. It's different enough that it has its own identity. Do you know what I mean? With those Firebird pickups, it looks kind of, well, you can tell it's going for a Rickenbacker vibe, but it's not like trying to pass itself off as one. Do you know what I mean? Where are we? Let's have a look. What else have I missed? Because I don't see the chat when I'm sharing the screen there, so I'm just kind of going up and seeing, what I missed while I was showing the pictures. The Lamb, that's a good point, mate. People forget an EQ pedal is also a gain pedal. I have a video coming up shortly with a pedal that you are a big fan of, Lammy, the volume pedal. J. How Young is saying, what's in the Misfits box? Yeah, that is his pick box, mate. That is, it looks like it's on the. What a brilliant idea! Put like, like in my day, it was always a Golden Virginia tin that used to. Golden Virginia is a popular brand of hand rolling tobacco in the UK, and it used to come in a what was it, an ounce or 2 ounce tin, and you could use those tins for all sorts of things. You go to any fly fishing enthusiast, and they'll always keep all the flies in a Golden Virginia tin. I built more than one fuzz pedal into one of those tins over the years. Just a little 741 up amp chip that you could buy for pennies in Tandy. Anyone remember that? Austin Barrett, the neck on that GS2 was snapped off in a bar fight. Well, that's what you want, isn't it? It looks like the kind of guitar that would turn up in a bar fight. A Murphy Lab Les Paul is probably kept in a glass case, and and never ever kind of gets anywhere near any beer fumes or kind of cigar smoke. But a Gordon Smith is the kind of guitar that will be there when it kicks off, I expect. What else have I missed? Michael Purcell, you make a brilliant point there. I don't know why YouTube doesn't get a music licensing agreement. I think they do, but it's only for the select few. For like the Vivo videos where they crop up on YouTube and stuff, which is like, Vivo, they're that company that distribute official music videos. It's something I worry less about than many people, because at the moment YouTube are very much the gatekeeper for people like me. They can, if they so wished, and I hope they don't, but if they do, they could just kind of turn off my revenue stream just with a click of a mouse. In much the same way as, in previous generations, if you wanted to get a book published, which I've got two of, I've got a new one in the works, I'll tell you more about that in a moment. You had to go through the gatekeeper of a publishing company, and record labels were once the gatekeepers. But you look at the progress through history of how these gatekeepers, they have a limited lifespan, shall we say, because, things always, there's always ways in the end to circumvent them. People can self-publish. People can release their own music now. I've got music up on Spotify. Go and check it out. Make an old man very happy by, search for me on Spotify and, listen to my music, and I'll get, kind of a fraction of a penny. What I'm saying is, at some point, this gatekeeper status always evaporates, and I don't know what the shape of it will be, but at some point, perhaps an app will come out that will allow you to kind of recruit your own advertisers. Something along those kind of lines, where you can just put videos up on your own platform, and that will be, everything at the moment is funneled through this one particular platform, and companies that have that gatekeeper status will, they always end up tending to be getting bypassed in the long run. Whether it'll happen, during my, because I'm 57, I'm staring the big 60 in the face, and given the fact that I'm fond of a curry, and I'm fond of a beer, and I'm fond of a bacon sandwich, it's like, no one is expecting longevity out of this, really, frankly. So whether it'll happen during my period on this platform, I can't really say, but at some point there will be, this whole kind of paradigm will be, upended, I suspect. Anyway, this is getting really rather deep, isn't it? I've got to tell you about my book. Yes, I've done Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist. That continues to sell brilliantly well, so thank you to everyone who's bought a copy of that. And then the Blues Guitar Bible. I got to the end of the Blues Guitar Bible, and I thought, well, that's it now. That's music theory, and that's blues. That's the sum total of my knowledge. And I thought, well, actually, no. A little bit about applying the music theory, and in a rock context. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. It's called How to Play Melodic Rock Lead Guitar, and I'm currently at 25,000 words, 67 pages. This is probably going to be the longest one yet. Let me just give you a little bit of a sort of a summary of what's been covered so far, or what I've written so far. Let me just go to the relevant folder, which is, why can't I find this folder? Where's it gone? There it is. It's almost like I've had a drink or something, isn't it? Anyway, so yes, so far I've covered everything you need to know about the pentatonic scale, literally everything, the cage system, the box patterns, the cage system, the linear runs, all that sort of stuff has been covered. Then basic techniques, things like how to read tab, hammer-ons and pull-offs, slides, bending, grace notes, and just all of the sort of the stuff that I'm basically covering in Monday's video. Then how to use chord notes in a solo, which inevitably involves figuring out where chord notes are. And just basically decorating your pentatonic solo with chord tones, which inevitably leads on to, once you start adding notes into a pentatonic scale, you end up with major scales and modes. So we cover all of that. Then there's arpeggios and triads, using those in a solo. Then there's double stops, where we're talking about thirds and fourths and sixths and stuff. And what happens when you split double stops into pairs of notes played by separate guitar players? Well, that's when you're into harmony guitar lead playing, and that's the chapter I'm writing at the moment. Coming after that, we're going to be looking at sort of the Hendrix style rhythm lead playing. Then we're going to be going into a little bit of stuff on the harmonic minor scale, the origins of the scale, the chords and arpeggios that it gives us, and the kind of genres of music like neoclassical that we can use it in. And then we're going to be talking about experimenting with exotic scales. If you've ever listened to Misery Lou by Dick Dale, scales like that, things where you can just have a little bit of fun playing with some exotic sort of stuff. We're going to be looking at that. Then we're going to be looking at the much kind of skirted around subject of phrasing, how to use question and answer phrasing, how to use call and response, developing a theme, the timing of the phrasing. And then there's going to be a supplementary chapter at the back with all of the scale patterns that you need for all of the stuff that's been in the book. As I say, it's currently at about 25,000 words, 67 pages, loads of tabs, loads of jam tracks, loads of video stuff to go along with it. I don't expect to be finished that this year. This is probably the most ambitious project I've embarked on so far, but when it's ready, I will keep you informed. There will, of course, be the usual discount for my wonderful Patreon supporters, and that's watch this space, basically. So there you go. Anyway, I need to tell you about James from Agrajag. James is going to be appearing on the channel in the coming weeks. Not exactly sure when, roughly three or 4 weeks' time. The problem James has got is, and it's a nice problem to have, is that he's pretty much the go-to guy in this area. His work is absolutely exquisite. He's done stainless steel refrets on a couple of my guitars at the moment, and he's currently working on another one as well. Again, watch this space for future details on that build that's going on. I've got a video coming up in the next few weeks. I forget when it is, where I'm reviewing a guitar that he's built, because he's not just a guitar tech. He actually builds guitars, does custom builds. You can kind of get in touch with James and say, I want a Fender I want a flying V-shaped Fender Stratocaster, and he'll build it for you. I want a BC Rich Warlock with Telecaster pickups, and he'll build it for you. So James is going to be coming up on the channel. He's busy as hell, and I don't like disturbing the man, especially when he's got one of my guitars on the workbench. He is going to be coming up shortly to answer your questions. If you go to the community section on YouTube, you will see that there is, after my rant that I did the other night, and yes, I added a couple of beers before I posted that, but I still stand by it. If you go to my the community section on my channel, you will see that there is a thread there where you can post your questions for James. Anything at all. What's it like to be a guitar builder? What's the weirdest request you've ever had? How do I fix the fret buzz on such and such? Anything like that at all. Just leave your question in that thread on the on that community post. It's the second one down, basically. The first one, the one that's at the top at the moment, is, as I say, my rant about getting kind of that copyright claim the other day. But go down to the one below that, and you'll see the post where you can leave your response to James, or you can just email How about that? You can just email your questions for James to me, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. I'll say that once again. In fact, I will put it in the chat. jrguitartuition@gmail.com. There we go. That's also the email address, by the way, to send any pictures of your guitars to. Just for the Readers' Wives section. By the way, if you happen to own a marvellous piece of apparel like this, I'm just waiting till I get enough pictures of people wearing this T-shirt. We're going to start doing another kind of section on the stream where you can show me yourself wearing this rather expensive, it has to be said, T-shirt. I do apologise for the price. The price you see on screen, I get about £8 of that. Please remember that. I'm not fleecing you. But yeah, just send your questions off to either that email address or leave it in that aforementioned community post thread. Barry Richards is saying, "I want to try stainless steel frets, but worry there will be more going." Do you mean no going back? It is very much the case, mate. Tell you a little story. I recently had a little bit of a tiny little windfall, shall we say, and it's when the money's burning a hole in your pocket, right? Not all of it. We need some work doing on the house in the sort of relatively near future. So, chucked about half of that windfall in the savings account, and then what was left, I said to the missus, "There's half, and I've got my half, and I can spend some money on a guitar." Hey, Anyway. Trolled a lot guitar and Gear for Music and Andertons and GAC and all of the usual suspects when it comes to guitar websites, and there was just nothing that I fancied. There literally wasn't, because the money that I had, there was nothing that had stainless steel frets. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to treat myself, I want a guitar that's got stainless steel frets. They are absolutely like catnip. They are more addictive than methamphetamine, which I'm watching. The reason I come up with that reference, by the way, is I'm rewatching only for the second time Breaking Bad. I know some people probably watched it half a dozen times by now, but I'm up to the point where he's doing the sort of doing the deal with the guy who owns the chain of chicken shops. I'm up to that part now. If you never watch Breaking Bad, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about. But that's roughly the point I'm up to now in the series, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, hence the methamphetamine. Kind of analogy there. Stainless steel frets. Once you play the guitar with them on, and you've experienced that silky, smooth, and absolutely effortless, glidey kind of feeling that they give you, and then you've kind of realised, hey, I'm never going to have to spend a brass farthing, a single penny, ever on having any fretwork done on this guitar, because they feel brand new. They feel like highly polished, brand new, pristine frets on the day that you first play the guitar, and they will feel like that forever. Then there's just nothing in my price range that has them. Colin Falcon, what are you saying there, mate? Breaking Bad, outstanding. Watch it 7 times so far. After that, you need to watch Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad prequel, just as good. Yeah, we started with Better Call Saul. We watched the first 4 or 5 episodes, and me and the missus just looked at each other one night, and we just went, nah. Meh. And it just, I don't know, it's like, seldom has there been a spin-off series that has ever lived up to expectations. Do you remember when Friends ended? I was never a big Friends fan. I've never had a belly laugh watching Friends. I've had a few sort of smiles, but never a belly laugh. And, when Friends ended, they came out with that Joey series, and I just thought, meh, Anyway, chaps, I think 59 minutes and 59, 1 hour into the stream. That is, I think, where we're going to draw proceedings to a close now, because I've got to go and get on the phone and order a curry from Bengal Spice. So thank you once again, each and every one of you, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad with a Gorbachev bloodstain on his head talk absolute cobblers for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.